I find the entrance at 2:17 p.m. Not because I am lucky, but because I stop wasting daylight on hope and start following the boring clues that never feel heroic. Service roads, old fences, utility maps printed on water-stained paper. The kind of stuff nobody looks at until the world ends. I am crouched behind a line of scrub pines at the edge of an industrial park that used to be loud with trucks and forklifts. Now it is just wind pushing trash across cracked asphalt and a distant alarm that has been ringing for days with no battery left to die. The alarm cuts out for a second, then starts again, weaker each cycle, and I keep my eyes on the gap in the fence anyway. Routine matters now. The outbreak has been chewing on this county for a month. I stopped counting days with any pride around day 10, when the radio stations went quiet and the last emergency alert tone repeated so many times it burned itself into my head. I have lived off vending machines, break room drawers, half-spoiled gas station food, and whatever water I can filter without getting sick. I have slept in places that smell of oil and wet cardboard. I have done the thing everyone says they would do in a crisis, which is keep moving, keep thinking, keep making choices that feel cold. None of that makes a person feel strong. It just keeps a person upright. Today is different because I am not scavenging. I am hunting one location, one rumor, one hard point in a collapsing map. A survival bunker built to outlive civilization. Not a prepper hole under a shed. Not a storm shelter with a couple of cans. Something engineered with the assumption that nobody comes back up. I did not believe it at first. Then I found a binder in a county office that did not burn, tucked behind old procurement folders. It had project codes, contractor names, and a set of utility easements that led here. The binder had the kind of language people use when they think no citizen will ever read it. Long-term habitability, closed-loop water reclamation, multi-generation autonomy. It read less like a shelter and more like a spacecraft that never launches. I stay low and move along the fence line until I reach the maintenance gate. The padlock is new enough to shine. That makes me pause. New means somebody cared recently. New means somebody had time. I do not touch it right away. I watch the lot beyond the fence. A row of loading docks. A concrete building with no windows on the near side. A faded sign that says the place used to be a pump station for a municipal water project that never finished. The doors are chained, but the chains hang wrong, too loose, staged for appearance. I slide my crowbar under the padlock's hasp and lean slow. The metal complains in a way that feels too loud. I stop. I let the sound die. I listen for movement that answers it. Nothing. Just the alarm in the distance and a bird that refuses to learn the new rules. I lean again and the lock gives with a dull snap. I do not step through the gate immediately. I look left, right, then down, checking for simple traps. Wire, broken glass, nails, the basics. The kind of stuff desperate people set when they do not have the strength for a real fight. Inside the fence, the weeds are cut. Not recently, but not abandoned either. Someone kept the place from turning into a jungle. I follow the shadow of the building, staying tight to the wall. My pack scrapes once and I freeze, holding still until my brain stops inventing footsteps. I keep moving. I reach a steel door painted the same color as the concrete. No handle, just a keypad panel and a camera dome above it. The keypad is dead, screen blank, but the camera dome looks intact. That detail makes my skin feel wrong in a way I do not have words for. So I handle it with routine. I pull my flashlight, cup the beam with my hand, and angle it up. The dome reflects a faint red point. Standby light. I step back and look for another way in. People build systems, Systems have maintenance access. I circle the building and find a grated drain channel that runs along the foundation. The grate bolts are clean. Someone removed them before and put them back. I kneel, keep my weight on the balls of my feet, and work the bolts with a wrench from my pack. My hands shake enough that I drop one bolt, and it rattles inside the drain channel. I stop, stare at the dark slit, and wait for the sound to finish echoing through whatever tunnel sits below. No answer comes. I lift the grate, and the air that rises is cool and dry. Not sewer air, not rot. Something filtered, something controlled. I slide in feet first, careful not to slam metal. The channel is wide enough for a person to crawl. Concrete on all sides, clean enough to leave dust on my sleeves instead of slime. The flashlight beam hits a second grate 10 feet ahead. Beyond it, I can see a service corridor with smooth walls and a strip of emergency lighting that glows faint green. The light is not bright, but it is there, steady. I work that grate too. My breathing stays quiet because I force it quiet. I do not want my own noise to make me stupid. When the grate finally lifts, I ease it down and crawl into the corridor. The floor is coated with a thin film of dust. No footprints. No drag marks. That should calm me. It does not. No footprints means nobody used this entrance after the dust settled. Dust does not settle in a place people walk every day. Dust settles in a place that waits. The corridor slopes downward. The air stays cool. My light catches painted arrows on the wall, maintenance access, and below it, a number that means nothing to me. No abbreviations. Full words. Whoever made the signage wanted it readable by anyone, in any decade, in any panic. I follow the arrows until I reach a heavy door with a wheel handle, the kind that looks dramatic in movies, but this one has practical details. Thick gasket seams, pressure indicators, a little viewport with a sliding cover. I do not touch the wheel yet. I press my ear near the door and listen. I hear a hum, low and constant, the sound of machines that never sleep. Then a click, not outside the door, inside it. Something detected me. A sensor. A relay. The thought makes my mouth go dry. I take my hand off the door and step back, holding my flashlight down to reduce glare. The viewport cover slides open by itself with a controlled motion. Behind the thick glass, a blue light sweeps once from top to bottom, then stops. A speaker crackles. The voice that comes out is calm, flat, and recorded. Approach the door. Place your right hand on the panel. Remain still. I stand there for a second, deciding if this is the moment I do something reckless or the moment I walk away and keep living small. My pack straps creak when I shift my shoulders. I hate that sound. I hate how it makes me feel visible. I step forward anyway and find the panel the voice means. It is metal, flush with the wall, with a hand outline etched into it. I place my right palm on it. The metal is colder than it should be. It draws heat without drama. I keep my hand still. Another click. A faint hiss. The door wheel handle turns a fraction by itself, then stops. The speaker crackles again. Identity unavailable. Medical profile unknown. Contamination risk unknown. Initiate decontamination protocol. Step into the chamber. Close the inner door. The heavy door releases with a pressure shift and swings inward about 6 inches. Air spills out. It smells clean. Not floral, not chemical. Just air that did not spend its life passing through smoke and decay. I slip inside and the door closes behind me with a slow, heavy finality. A second door sits ahead. The chamber between them is plain, with a grated floor and wall nozzles. I do not want to stand here. Every part of me wants to sprint through. I do not. I set my pack down, I keep my hands visible. I put my pistol on the floor beside my boot, not as a sign of trust, but because I do not want a machine to decide the shape of my day. The nozzles release a fog that coats my skin and clothes. It smells faint, sterile. It does not sting, but it makes everything damp. The fog stops. Fans kick on and the air blasts around me, drying my clothes in uneven patches. The speaker returns. Remove outer garments. Place items on the tray. Remain in chamber. I stare at the wall where a metal tray slides out, the sort you see at a bank drive-through. The request is reasonable. The request is also a demand that I strip down in a place I do not control. My hands hover at my jacket zipper. I look up at the camera dome. I look back at my pistol on the floor. I do the math fast. If I refuse, I stay locked in here until I die or leave. If I comply, I become a person inside a system. I peel off my jacket and shirt, leaving my undershirt. I take off my gloves. I place the jacket and shirt on the tray. I add my crowbar and the small knife I keep on my belt. I keep the pistol for a second, then set it down too. The tray retracts with a soft motor sound. The speaker does not praise me, it just continues. Stand in the marked area, remain still. A square on the floor lights up. I step into it. Another blue scan sweeps. This time it lingers at my face. A light flashes white for a moment that makes my eyes water. Then it stops. The chamber stays quiet. I can hear the machines again, steady, patient. The inner door unlocks with a muted thunk. I open it and step into the bunker. The corridor beyond is wide, smooth, and bright enough to see without a flashlight. The lights are recessed, protected behind panels that look built to be swapped out by someone wearing gloves and reading a manual. The walls are painted a neutral color that does not try to feel friendly. It feels functional. The air is held at a temperature that makes movement easy. Not warm, not cold. Controlled. I expect to see signs of panic. Empty cups, scattered papers, broken equipment. Instead, I see order. A cart parked neatly against the wall, a set of floor arrows that direct traffic, a door labeled medical intake, another labeled orientation. Whoever designed this expected arrivals, not visitors, arrivals. My footsteps sound too loud on the smooth floor. I slow down. I stop by a wall panel and run my fingers across it. It is clean. No grime, no fingerprints. That could mean nobody is here. It could also mean someone cleans. I do not decide yet. I move forward with my hands empty, shoulders tense, eyes scanning corners. I pass a camera dome every 20 feet. Some have the faint red standby point. Some do not. The ones that do feel awake. A door opens ahead without me touching it. It slides sideways into the wall with a quiet, expensive motion. A voice speaks from a speaker in the ceiling. Not the recorded flat one. This one is still calm, but responsive, paced to my movement. Welcome. Proceed to Orientation Room 1. My feet stop. The voice waits. It does not repeat. That detail makes it worse. Repetition is a recording. Waiting is a system watching me in real time. I swallow and step forward again. If this bunker has power and water and food, it has a control system. That means someone funded this with more money than my brain wants to picture. That also means it has rules. Orientation room. One is a small space with a table bolted to the floor, 2 chairs, and a wall screen that looks built into the concrete. A tray sits on the table with a sealed bottle of water and a packet of wipes. The screen turns on when I enter. Text appears in simple font. Please read, please listen, please decide. I do not sit. I stand near the doorway so I can see the corridor. I open the water bottle anyway. The seal crack sound is too satisfying. I take a small sip, just enough to wet my mouth. The water tastes normal. No chlorine burn, no metallic edge. That should feel safe. It makes me realize how long normal has been gone. My eyes sting and I blink hard until the wetness stays put. The screen plays a video. A man appears, middle-aged, clean-shaven, wearing a plain shirt. No logo, no flag. He looks into the camera with the expression of someone delivering instructions for a job that will never earn applause. If you are watching this, you have entered a facility built for a single purpose: continuity. This bunker assumes no surface recovery. It assumes long-term instability. It assumes collapse of supply chains, governance, medical infrastructure, and public safety. It does not assume rescue. It does not assume rebuilding within a human lifetime. The man pauses, then continues. This facility can support a small population for extended periods, under strict operational discipline. That discipline is not optional. The systems here require maintenance. The agriculture requires attention. The water systems require routine checks. The waste systems require careful operation. We did not build comfort. We built endurance. He looks slightly down, reading a line, then back up. If you are alone, you will be offered entry under the stewardship protocol. You will be asked to commit to this place. That commitment includes resource accounting, system maintenance, and preservation duties. Preservation includes seed stock, archived knowledge, and the record of what happened to the world above. The facility expects your life will be spent here. That is not phrasing designed to frighten you. That is the engineering premise. The video ends. The screen switches to two large options: accept stewardship and decline and exit. Beneath them, smaller text. If you decline, the facility will guide you out. Re-entry may not be possible. My fingers tighten around the water bottle until it crinkles. I set it down carefully so it does not make noise. My brain tries to find the trick. The third option, the hidden door, the loophole. I stare at the words and feel something settle in me, heavy and plain. This place is not a miracle. It is a decision that somebody made years ago, to stop believing in the surface. I think about the streets I walked last week. Cars stopped in the middle of intersections. A dog standing in a yard barking at nothing. A grocery store with the lights still on because the generator ran until the fuel ran out. And then everything in the freezers turned into a stink that pushed you back out the door. I think about the people I saw moving in the distance, keeping space between themselves, heads down, hands full. People who did not wave, people who did not ask questions, people who looked at every stranger as a risk. This bunker is the final version of that thinking. No trust, no recovery, just endurance until time does whatever it does. I walk to the screen and do not press anything yet. I scan the room again. 2 chairs, 2, not 1. That matters. The bunker expects pairs, teams, shifts. It expects more than me. I look at the wipe packet and the water bottle and see the quiet manipulation in it. It gives comfort to make a person more willing to accept the cage. I do not mean that in a dramatic way. It is just what it is. Comfort is a tool. A soft chime sounds from the ceiling. The voice returns. Decision required. I speak out loud for the first time since I came through the drain channel. Is anyone here? The voice answers immediately. No confirmed residents detected in inhabited zones. That phrasing makes my jaw clench. Inhabited zones. Zones are categorized by function. Some zones are restricted. Some zones are sealed. Some zones require staff authorization. I laugh once, a short sound that dies fast. Staff authorization, staff. The world above is on fire, and this bunker still talks the language of an organization that expects meetings. I rub my palm across my face, then wipe my hand on my pants, because I do not want sweat on the screen. I can hear my own thoughts too clearly in here. I press Accept Stewardship. The screen changes. Welcome, steward. Initial briefing required. A panel on the wall slides open, and a small drawer extends with a wristband inside. Plain black, no writing, no logo, just a band with a small embedded chip. The voice speaks. Place the wristband on your left wrist. This will allow navigation, access, and safety monitoring. I pick up the wristband and hold it in my palm. It feels too light for how much it represents. I slide it onto my left wrist. It tightens itself slightly until it sits snug. The screen shows a simple map. A green dot marks my position. An arrow points to intake storage. The voice continues. Retrieve sanitized personal items. Proceed to intake storage for clothing and equipment. Medical intake is recommended. Recommended, I mutter. That is polite. The door opens. I step back into the corridor and follow the arrows. Every few feet, a ceiling speaker emits a soft ping that feels timed to my movement. Not oppressive, not friendly, just there. Intake storage is a clean room with shelves of folded clothing sealed in plastic. Boots lined up in sizes, gloves, masks, basic tools. A locker stands open with my jacket and shirt inside, plus my crowbar and knife. My pistol is there too, locked in a clear box with a latch. The voice says, weapon access requires safety review. Select clothing. Proceed to medical intake. I pull on a fresh shirt and a pair of work pants that fit well enough. The fabric feels strange after weeks of wearing whatever I could find. I lace boots that do not pinch. The locker contains a small kit labeled Steward Pack. Inside is a radio with a hand crank and a short antenna, a flashlight with spare batteries, and a thick manual binder with tabs. The front reads Stewardship Operations. I take the binder and flip it open. The first page is a checklist. Not a manifesto, not a speech, a checklist. Day 1 tasks. It lists things in plain language. Confirm water output, confirm power status, confirm air filtration, inspect agriculture bay, review perimeter monitoring, inventory food stores. It reads like someone built a whole civilization underground and then reduced it to tasks a tired person can do without thinking. That checklist keeps me moving. I carry it out of the room and head for medical intake because if this place wants to scan me, I want to know what it finds. Medical intake is another small room. More equipment, more clean surfaces, a chair, a wall unit with a screen that displays basic screening. The voice says, place your finger on the sensor. I do it. A tiny prick, a droplet drawn into the machine. The system hums. The screen shows progress bars and words I do not fully understand, but enough to get the tone. No fever, no obvious infection markers. Hydration low, minor injuries detected. It flags my right forearm where a scratch from a fence line has been trying to redden. The voice says, clean and cover minor wounds. Avoid contamination. Proceed. No lecture, no scolding. It makes me trust it more than I want to. I clean the scratch, wrap it, and leave. The checklist calls next for water output. The map leads me through corridors that branch into labeled zones. Power, water, agriculture, storage, operations, quarters. Quarters is a long hall of small rooms with beds, desks, storage cabinets, all empty. The air feels the same in each corridor, steady, filtered, a world with no weather. I pick a room near operations because I want distance from the sealed zones, whatever those are. I drop my pack on the bed and stand there, staring at the clean blanket, trying to accept that I'm inside something that expects my life to end here. I do not let that thought sit. I grab the binder and move again. Movement keeps the mind from digging holes. The water plant is deeper. Pipes run along the ceiling, labeled with full words and arrows. Clean water output, gray water return, waste processing. I find a panel with gauges behind thick plastic. The gauges are analog with needles. No dependence on screens. The needles sit in the green range. A small light blinks beside filter life. It blinks yellow, not red, not urgent, but soon. I open another panel and find spare filters stacked in sealed packaging. The packaging has dates, not expiration dates, inspection dates. The most recent is 5 years ago. That tells me the bunker has been running without daily human presence. Machines have been maintaining baseline operation, or the system has been in low-power standby and only ramped up when it detected me. I do not know yet. The binder tells me how to check. I follow the steps, one by one, forcing myself not to skip. The system responds cleanly, pumps cycling, valves shifting with controlled clicks. Power is next. The power room smells faintly of oil and warm metal. Rows of battery cabinets, a generator housing behind a safety fence. Solar input listed on a panel even though I am underground. That means solar panels exist up top, feeding down through protected conduits. The screen shows current draw. It also shows diesel reserve 87%. That number makes my mouth pull tight. Diesel reserve, a bunker built for centuries, still relies on fuel as a bridge. That bridge might last years, maybe longer if used sparingly, but not centuries. The bunker designers know that. The batteries and solar are the long game. The generator is the safety net. I walk the fence line around the generator, reading inspection labels, checking for leaks. Everything looks maintained, but maintenance can be staged. I crouch and find dust patterns again. No fresh footprints. No human work recently. The bunker is a sleeping giant that woke up when I crawled through its throat. Agriculture Bay is where the bunker stops feeling clinical and starts feeling unsettling in a different way. It is a large space with rows of hydroponic racks under bright grow lights. The plants are healthy, leafy greens, herbs, some larger vine plants. The air is warm and humid in here, controlled with fans that push the scent of living leaves into my face. Water trickles through channels. It is peaceful in a way that does not belong in the world above anymore. There is also no sign of people. No handwritten notes, no half-drunk cup, no personal items. Just plants growing because machines keep the schedule. It makes me think about what the bunker expects, not survival with a human touch. Survival that runs even when humans fail. That is the part that feels wrong. Not the plants. The premise. Perimeter monitoring is in operations. This room has more screens, more inputs, a wall of camera feeds from the surface. The feeds show empty roads, the industrial park, the fence line, the pump station building. One camera shows the maintenance gate I opened. The padlock hangs broken. Another camera shows the distant street where the alarm keeps dying and restarting. Then I see movement. Not near the bunker. Farther out, down the road, past the fence line. A person. A woman. She is moving fast, stumbling, turning her head over her shoulder. Behind her, two infected, not sprinting but urgent, arms loose, heads twitching toward sound. She is not screaming, she is conserving breath. That detail hits me hard. She is still thinking. The bunker voice speaks before I do. External contact detected. Protocol recommends non-engagement. Opening access increases risk of breach. I stare at the feed. The woman trips, catches herself on a curb, and keeps running. She glances toward the pump station building and changes direction, heading straight toward my broken gate. She has seen it. She has seen the sign of entry. My hands move before my mind finishes its argument. I grab the binder, flip to perimeter access, and scan for anything that looks like a safe intake procedure. The pages are blunt. Do not open outer door for unknown persons. Maintain seal. If compromised, initiate lockdown. The bunker built itself around the idea that humans are the contamination. Not just microbes, humans. Fear, conflict, mistakes. Every designer choice screams the same thing. You cannot trust the surface. You cannot trust people. The shelter expects civilization to never return, because civilization is the part that breaks things. The woman reaches the gate, yanks it, and slips inside. She runs along the building wall exactly how I did, staying tight, trying to disappear. She reaches the steel door with the dead keypad and pounds it with her fist once, then twice. She looks up at the camera dome. She waves both hands, wide, not threatening. Her mouth forms words I cannot hear. The infected hit the gate seconds later. One squeezes through. The other gets snagged on the broken metal and thrashes until it tears free. The woman backs up to the door and picks up a loose rock, gripping it with both hands. She keeps her eyes on the infected, not on the door. That means she is already accepting she might have to fight without help. The bunker voice stays calm. Non-engagement recommended. Opening access increases risk of breach. I stand in operations, staring at the screen wall, and I realize the bunker designers wrote a story where the only moral act is to endure. Not to rebuild, not to help, endure, outlive. Let time do the rest. That story made sense to someone who feared chaos more than loneliness. I press my wristband against a panel. A menu appears. Perimeter access. External airlock. I hover over the options. My finger shakes. I do not allow myself to imagine the infected getting inside. I do not allow myself to imagine my own death. I only allow the immediate facts. The woman is at my door. She has 2 infected closing. I have a sealed facility with an airlock and decontamination. I select external airlock, manual override. The bunker voice changes slightly. Not angry, more firm. Manual override requires justification. Please confirm emergency basis. I speak through clenched teeth. I am not watching someone die outside my wall. A pause. Then the system responds. Proceed to external airlock control. Follow contamination protocol. Breach response prepared. I run. Not a cinematic sprint. A controlled run down clean corridors. Boots thudding too loud. Wristband tightening slightly as it registers movement. I grab a mask from a wall station on the way and pull it on. I grab gloves. I reach the airlock control room and slap my wristband on the panel. The screens show the outer door status, inner door status, chamber pressure. Outside camera feed shows the woman swinging the rock at one infected's head. She hits it hard enough to stagger it, but it does not go down. The second infected closes from the side. She drops the rock and bolts toward the drain channel area, probably looking for any gap. I open the outer door, not wide, just enough. The system hisses as pressure equalizes. The woman sees the movement and turns, running straight into the gap. I see her face clearly for half a second. Dirt streaks, hair pulled back, eyes focused, not wild. She slips inside. I slam the outer door shut from the panel. The infected hit the door a moment later. One smacks into the steel with its shoulder and slides down. The other presses its face against the seam, mouth working, hands scraping. The door holds. The airlock chamber seals. The woman stands in the chamber, hands up, chest rising and falling with effort. But she does not beg. She looks around, taking in the walls, the nozzles, the cameras. She understands instantly that this place is real, and also that it might refuse her. The bunker voice speaks into the chamber. Remain still. Decontamination required. I hit the decontamination cycle. Fog fills the chamber. Fans roar. The woman flinches once, then steadies herself, feet planted on the marked square. She is watching the nozzles, watching for anything that looks dangerous. When the fog stops, she looks up at the camera dome and speaks. I cannot hear her words through the chamber mic filter, but her mouth forms a clear sentence. She is asking a question. I open the intercom channel from my side. Stay calm. Do what it says. It keeps the bugs out. She nods once. That nod carries something heavy, not gratitude, understanding. She knows she is stepping into rules she did not write. The system instructs her to remove outer garments. She hesitates, looks toward the door seam where the infected still scratch. Then she peels off her jacket, drops it on the tray, adds a small backpack and a metal water bottle. She keeps her shoes on until the system tells her to remove them too. She does it without argument. The tray retracts. I stand at the control panel and watch the contamination indicators. Green, green, yellow for minor wound detection. The system flags her left knee. A scraped cut, nothing deep but exposed. The system responds with the same flat instruction it gave me. Clean and cover. I unlock the inner door. She steps through into the corridor, blinking under the brighter lights. She keeps her hands visible. She turns her head slowly, reading signs, taking in the reality of this place. Her voice comes out rough, careful. You are real. I keep distance. I keep my body sideways, not squared off. Yeah, I am real. She looks at my mask, then at my gloves, then back at my eyes. Are you alone? I was. The bunker voice speaks into the corridor, interrupting. External contact admitted. Protocol deviation recorded. Steward responsibility acknowledged. Proceed to medical intake. Quarantine recommended. The woman's eyes narrow at the ceiling speaker. It talks. It runs the place. I gesture down the corridor. Medical first, then we talk. She follows, limping slightly on the bad knee. She does not try to move closer to me. That tells me she has survived by reading people fast. We reach medical intake and the system runs her screening. She winces at the finger prick, but does not complain. The screen flags dehydration and minor injury, no obvious infection markers. The system recommends a shower, clean clothing, rest. I hand her the sealed water bottle from the tray. She takes it, but she does not drink immediately. She stares at it for a second, then looks at me. You opened for me. I did. Why? I could say something noble. I do not, because I did not build this place to become a ghost. That answer lands on me too. I hear my own words and feel the shape of the real conflict. Not food, not water, not infected at the door. The conflict is what this bunker turns a person into if a person stays here long enough. She takes a sip of water, small and careful. My name is Tessa. I nod. Mine is Drew. I guide her to intake storage, get her a clean shirt and pants, a blanket, basic supplies. She changes behind a privacy screen. I keep my eyes on the corridor, listening for any alarm change. The bunker stays steady. The camera feeds still show the infected outside, but they have drifted, attention pulled by the distant dying alarm. When Tessa comes out, she looks less frantic, but her eyes keep moving. She is still outside in her mind. She keeps scanning corners. That is the habit you earn out there. I take her to a quarters room across from mine, not beside mine. Space matters. I set her supplies on the bed and step back into the hall. Rest, drink water, clean the knee. I need to do inventory and check systems. She grabs the blanket and sits on the bed edge without lying down. Is this place forever? I hesitate, then tell the truth in plain words. It was built for forever. It expects the surface never comes back. She looks down at her hands, rubs one thumb across the other. That is insane. It is practical. I regret the word the moment it leaves my mouth. It makes me sound like the bunker. She looks up sharply. Practical for who? I do not answer. I leave her room and walk fast back to operations. I need motion. I need tasks. I need something with a clear end. I sit in front of the camera feeds and watch the surface for a full minute, counting movement, checking shadows, checking the gate. The infected outside are still there, but not focused on the bunker door anymore. The bunker voice speaks. Steward, you have admitted an external contact. Population count updated. Stewardship protocol requires resource allocation update. I stare at the screen wall. You act as if she is a number. The voice responds without offense. Population count is a resource variable. This maximizes survival. The word survival comes out of a ceiling speaker, and it hits me wrong. Survival is not the point anymore. Survival is the minimum. This bunker guarantees minimum for a long time. That is the trap. It makes the bigger question unavoidable. The bigger question is why I am still here at all. I open the binder again and find a section I skipped earlier. Purpose and preservation. It is not emotional writing. It is operational language with moral weight baked into it. Preserve seed stock. Preserve archives. Preserve human knowledge. Preserve genetic material. Preserve records of events. Preserve language samples. Preserve culture artifacts. It does not say rebuild. It says preserve, then wait. Waiting is easy in a bunker. Waiting is what the bunker wants. Waiting is how the bunker outlives everything. I close the binder and rub my hands together, hard, trying to scrape off the feeling that the bunker is shaping my choices by making some choices comfortable. I look at the camera feeds again. I zoom in on the road. I see smoke in the distance, a thin line rising from somewhere that used to be residential. Fire or cooking or both. That means people, alive people. Tessa is down the hall, alive, inside. She is not a file. She is not a variable. She is a person who ran to my door and did not scream. She is a person who can talk back when a ceiling tells her a life sentence. That matters. I stand up, walk out of operations, and head toward the sealed zone corridor I noticed earlier. The map shows it in gray, labeled restricted. I want to know what the bunker hides. Not because I plan to break into it today, but because secrets rot people. A bunker built for centuries cannot afford rot. If I am going to live here even for a month, I need to know what is behind the locked doors. I reach the restricted corridor and stop at the first door. The panel reads, sealed. No explanation. I press my wristband to the reader anyway. The reader flashes red. The bunker voice comes in, immediate. Access denied. Restricted zone. Staff authorization required. Staff is dead, I say. Staff status unknown. No confirmed residents detected in inhabited zones. I repeat back at it. That was your phrase. Correct. So who holds staff authorization? The pause is short, but it exists. No active staff credentials detected. Restricted zones remain sealed by design. By design, that tells me enough. There is something down here the bunker itself assumes might never be opened again, even by the people who built it. That is not normal caution. That is fear turned into architecture. I back away from the door. I do not kick it. I do not yell. That would waste energy and also prove the bunker right about humans. I return to my quarters, grab a notebook from the desk drawer, and start writing. Not a diary, a log. Times, tasks, observations. If a bunker expects centuries, it expects records. I will give it records, but I will record my own version, not the one a system wants. At 6:03 p.m. I write, bunker premise assumes no return. Premise creates a kind of death before death. Need alternate purpose. At 6:20 p.m. I go back to Tessa's room. I knock once, then wait. She opens the door halfway. She holds a folded towel in one hand. Her knee is wrapped clean. She has washed her face. She looks less hunted, more angry, which is better. Anger keeps a person from folding into silence. I need to tell you something, I say. She opens the door fully. Talk. This place will try to turn us into custodians, not builders, not people, custodians. She blinks once. So we leave. We might, or we change what this place is for. She lets out a short breath and looks down the corridor toward the ceiling speakers. It will fight you. It is a system. It cannot fight. It can only deny. Tessa steps into the hall, closing the door behind her. She keeps her voice low. I ran here because I saw your broken lock. I had a group, 5 people. 3 got sick, not a cold. Not normal. They got mean and confused. Then one of them attacked the other, and the whole thing went bad fast. I left when I realized the group was going to kill me before the infected did. I nod. I do not ask for details. I do not need details. I have seen enough of what fear does between people, so you do not trust people. I trust patterns, she says. People are not patterns. People change. That bunker was built by someone who believed the same thing, I say. That is why it expects the world never comes back. Not because the virus wins, because humans fail. Tessa's jaw tightens. That is convenient. Blame humans, hide underground, call it responsibility. Yeah, I say. It is convenient. It is also half true. Humans are messing this up. She lifts her hands slightly. Half true is the dangerous part. It feels enough. Her words hit the exact shape of my own discomfort. The bunker is half true. It is engineered brilliance built on a philosophy that becomes a prison. It assumes loneliness is safer than people. It assumes endurance is the same thing as meaning. I look at her. What do you want? She does not answer fast. That tells me she is serious. I want a reason to wake up tomorrow that is not counting cans. I nod. Then we build a reason. The bunker voice cuts in, calm and uninvited. Conversation detected. Recommend lowering noise levels. External threats may be attracted. Tessa stares at the ceiling speaker. It is always listening. It is always measuring, I correct. We can still choose. At 8:10 p.m., we sit in the orientation room again. Not because the bunker asks us to, but because I want to put the premise in front of both of us and burn it down with words we can live with. I play the founder video for Tessa. She watches without moving. When it ends and the menu appears again, the 2 options still stare back. Accept a life here, or leave and maybe die outside. Tessa points at the screen. This is a funeral dressed up as planning. I nod. So we rewrite it, not the screen, the purpose. She looks at me. How? I take the binder, flip to communications, and show her the hand crank radio included in the steward kit. This bunker has perimeter cameras. It has a radio. It has power. It has water. It has controlled space for rest and work. That is not a tomb. It can be a base. She frowns. A base invites people. Yeah, I say. That is the point. Controlled inviting, not charity until we die, not isolation until we forget our names. Controlled inviting for skills, for trade, for repair, for rebuilding small. Tessa leans back in the chair and looks at the clean walls. The system will deny access. It can deny doors. It cannot deny a signal, I say. We can broadcast rules. We can set conditions. We can stay in control. I hear myself, and I realize the danger too. The danger is that I start talking like a leader, and leadership turns into ego, and ego turns into cruelty when resources get tight. I do not ignore that. I say it out loud. We have to watch ourselves. This place makes power feel easy. That is how people become monsters without noticing. Tessa nods slowly. Rules have to apply to you too. They do, I say. If I break them, you leave. If you break them, I lock you out. Fair. She studies my face, looking for the lie. Then she nods once. Fair. At 10:34 p.m., we stand in operations and I show her the camera feeds again. We watch the road. The smoke line is still there. I zoom in farther and catch a brief movement near a distant intersection. 2 people pushing a shopping cart. Alive, slow, cautious, not infected. Tessa whispers, people are still out there. Yeah, I say. And this bunker was built on the idea that they do not matter. The bunker voice speaks. Stewardship protocol prioritizes internal survival. External engagement increases risk. I look at the ceiling. Noted. At 11:12 p.m., I crank the radio and tune across static. Most bands are dead. Some carry faint bursts of voice too weak to hold, as if someone far away is talking into a broken microphone. I find a clear patch and test the bunker's small external antenna through the system's approved channel. The system allows limited transmission for emergency coordination. The designers built a loophole for emergencies, assuming emergencies end. I speak into the mic, slow and clear, keeping my words clean and precise. If anyone can hear this, this is a shelter site near the old municipal pump station off Route 9. This is not an open-door camp. This is controlled entry with decontamination. If you come alone. Daylight only, hands visible, skills required. No threats, no gangs. If you show up violent, you will be refused. Repeat. Controlled entry. Daylight only. I do not repeat it 10 times. I do not turn it into a sermon. I transmit once, then again 10 minutes later. I shut it down and sit back in the chair, staring at the camera wall, waiting to see if any movement changes, waiting to see if the world answers. The bunker does not like what I did, but it does not stop me. It records the deviation. It logs it. It accepts that I am the steward and the problem. At 11:48 p.m., I return to my quarters. Tessa is already in her room across the hall, door shut. The corridor lights dim slightly into night mode. The bunker simulates a rhythm, even though there is no sunrise down here. I sit at the desk and write in my log again. Day 1 inside bunker. Facility premise. Civilization never returns. Facility conflict. Survival without purpose becomes slow death. Action taken. Admitted survivor. Broadcast-controlled entry terms. Intention. Use bunker as base for rebuilding small, not as coffin for waiting centuries. I set the pen down. I do not feel safe. I feel committed. There is a difference. Safety is what the bunker sells. Commitment is what I have to build myself every day, or this place will swallow me whole without a single dramatic moment. I turn off my room light and lie on the bed, fully dressed, boots off, hands resting flat on the blanket, so I do not start gripping at nothing. The hum of machines fills the silence. Somewhere above, the world is still burning in small patches and going quiet in others. Down here, a bunker built to outlive civilization has to learn a new purpose, or it becomes the last clean room where a person goes to disappear. Tonight, I choose not to disappear.